So in studio today, he goes by DJ Ryan Ha.
Just DJ Ha.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
That's your Instagram.
Ryan DJ Ha. Yeah.
Ryan DJ Ha.
Yeah.
There you go. Anyway, Ryan, good morning, or DJ Ha. Which would you prefer to go by the rest of the...
Oh, you could call me Ryan, but the fact that you just started with my stage name means that I'm doing the right thing in
there you go.
Marketing and advertising.
Yeah, when I think of Ryan DJ Ha, that's what's in my head. Right, I got you.
Yeah, you know what? There's a
DJ Ha.
A lot of the world thinks my last name is Ha, which it absolutely is not. That's my stage, part of my stage name.
Yes.
And that's exactly the way I want it to be. You know what I mean?
Well, where did that come from? Where did DJ Ha come from?
So like any good aliases, it was organic.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I was looking in the mirror and I'm like, this guy's got a big nose. He's going to be like DJ Schnoz,
DJ Schnoz.
It wasn't like that. Right. Like at the end of high school, I have my friends group and I have a funny laugh. You're going to hear me laugh at some point. If you're going to have me on here for this amount of time, I'm going to laugh at. I'm already ready to do it. Anyway, so all my girlfriends, in the friends group, used to call me Ha or Ha Ha Ha, and that was their nickname for me because they were basically making fun of my laugh, but it was an endearing thing to them. And I'm like, this is years before I was a DJ. Years.
Yeah.
So
you just became Ha.
Yeah, I was like, well, that's going to be my stage name one day. It's going to be whatever, something Ha, DJ Ha. Yeah, so
I gotcha. You kept that in the back pocket.
Yeah.
Until such time. So, all right, where did you go to school?
School
it's not a big thing, but...
ended. Yeah, school. We can have some heavy conversations here about schooling and where you should go and how much time you should spend there and how much of your parents' money you should waste.
Yeah, we dipped on that this morning a little bit because it got, yesterday was Banana Day. Eric is closer to his secondary education than I obviously am, and maybe you are. I don't know. We won't give away your age or anything like that.
Well, it is fun to talk about. I'm not here to speak on any subject in any length outside of music. That is, of course, my focus here as we get deeper in. Obviously, we're going to talk about that, but I'm happy to talk about a variety of subjects. I went a year and a half of community colleges as far as I got in any kind of that kind of education.
Yeah.
A lot of people ask me mostly as a front of house sound engineer at big venues.
Yeah.
They ask me, where'd you go to school? And I'm like, I'm self-taught.
Self-taught. I love that. That's one of the things I really enjoy about people that I find that are, I don't know, one is innovators in their area, like people who are dreamers, thinking outside the box, is typically they haven't been beaten down by an institution, right? And they either recognize that early on or they had mentors, parents, teachers, whatever, that set them up for success to be like, hey, man, you don't need – it's kind of like the joke. Do you ever hear about people that go to, they take a college course in entrepreneurship? And the person standing up front goes, listen, if you're here for the textbook on entrepreneurship, you're never going to be an entrepreneur.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think entrepreneurship means different things to different people, but it's sort of the inside joke. If you're here learning how to be an entrepreneur, you're probably not going to be an entrepreneur.
Let me give you my philosophy on just employment and
bless you.
And work. Yes, and bless you.
Yeah. Bless you, my son.
in employment and capitalism and the workspace in general, something I talk about often is one scene in The Dark Knight. I call it my Bane philosophy.
Okay.
And there's a scene where the squirrely little corporate guy in the suit is saying, I've paid you X amount of dollars. And Bane is like, so that means you have some sort of control over me just because you paid me? I provided a service for you that's worth well beyond what you paid me. You are not over me. You are not above me.
Yeah.
And the world lives in fear. Everybody is controlled by fear. The powers that be do things with fear. That is the biggest thing that will drive of humanity to do the most insane things.
Sure.
So, you know.
I think, I want to speak on that point, because I think that isn't one, as you're saying it now, that sounds like a horrible way to live. But on the other side of that, I always like to steel man these things. The other side of that is, I believe it is part of our genetic makeup that has got us here to the quote unquote top of the food chain, right? Is fear is like the thing that, you know, I shouldn't eat that plant. I've never eaten that plant. That plant might kill me. I saw some other dude eat that plant and he died, and his bloodline is now gone. So there is this survival mechanism.
Yeah, that is
important.
Yeah.
Right. So so I think fear can, you know, we often, fear is like that. What's the big metaphor? Like fire. Fire could be this great tool, or it can burn down your house, man. It can burn your skin off. It can kill you.
Right.
So fear, I think, is like, it is an experience.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and it's the proof of the power, and it's how you.
It's a powerful experience.
And it's how you use it, right?
How do we use it?
It's a tool, and like whatever. Just like any other emotion, you know, we can control it, and you know,
we can manage it.
Yeah.
And learning to manage it and use it for good. Doesn't it sound like, I don't know, I feel like we're getting off like in superpowers here.
We started this conversation very, very deep.
I know. That's how we do, man. We jump right into the deep end, don't I, Eric?
I don't care.
Right into it. Eric, sometimes his eyes roll back in his head and he's about to nod off.
Like,
that's when he cracks another, brought to you by Rain, the energy drink of Eric Clambert on the morning show.
Yeah.
I just want to talk about, so we got that on schooling, but like, where did you like grow up?
So I grew up in Jersey Shore.
Oh, okay, Jersey Shore.
Which really inevitably was like, okay, I'm like, you know, middle class white suburbia, and I'm driving around, you know, and you know, I should know better. I'm a sound engineer. God Almighty, I have a microphone in front of me, and I don't know how to use it.
You're the talent today.
I know, right? Yeah. Honestly,
it's hard though, right?
I'm a talent like a third of the time, but we're going to get it more into detail on that.
Sure.
I grew up in New Jersey. Really never planned on being a musician, really, when I was a kid. I was an athlete. You know, you're so hype all the time. You're like, we're going to get you in the gym. You need to be pumping and jumping. And I totally love your energy. And I am a former athlete. That's why I'm a drummer now. You look at my shirt. I got a snare drum.
I see it.
That's on my shirt.
It's like a blueprint of a drum.
My mom got this for me. How adorable is that? That's cute. She's like, my 40-year-old son's going to love this.
Yeah.
And I do. I wear it all the time.
Eric is a musician as well.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, of course. But yeah, like basically grew up as a musician, as a an athlete.
Okay.
I was like hot shot tennis player, getting scouted by colleges and yada yada yada. And then right around 18 years old, I discovered the drums.
Okay.
I was singing my whole life.
Yeah.
My raspy voice has been destroyed because I shouldn't have smoked. But I still sing a little bit, and I was a vocalist for a long time. But I started playing the drums, and that was kind of the thing that switched on for me.
Yeah,
and
that drew you in.
I got less interested in playing tennis, and I got more interested in that.
Yeah.
So growing up in Jersey, I ended up running around New York City. So, man.
So northern Jersey.
So there is this place that people say don't exist.
Yeah.
That is Central Jersey. I am from there.
Central Jersey.
I'm telling you, it's not North Jersey. It's not South Jersey. It's
a very different place. It is. I know my partner, Sweet Jessica, as I refer to her here on the show. She's a Cape May Courthouse lady.
Okay.
Right. So that was more like the shore kind of spot. And then there's and then she lived in northern Jersey, and that part of whole New York kind of scene. I had a buddy who lived in Manhattan, and like his dad went to like West Point, and they lived up that way. So like I get that whole there's a certain vibe between different regions of New Jersey.
Yeah.
And there's people, I think people like New Jersey has this impact, I guess because it's right near New York, like comedians are like, oh, like New Jersey, because there was a lot of manufacturing there at one time, so there's that part of Jersey.
I mean, when you fly into Newark, it's not pretty. And then when you see like South Jersey or like the upper, like North Jersey, Delaware border gap, you're like, oh my God, is this the same state?
Right. And when you think of the Garden State and you're like, right, but you fly into Newark, you're like, what, this is the Garden State?
Right.
Where am
exactly.
I?
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah. So that's where I grew up, and I was just a train ride. So like the reason why I'm the way I am now is because, I'm talking like concerts and raves in New York City in the 90s. Ooh. I mean, that was it. That was when electronic music really started to take off.
Right.
I was a train ride away at like 16, 17 years old from just being downtown Manhattan. And it was awesome.
A very different. Yeah, there's something electric about a big city. It's just not the same. Like Philadelphia is cool. Like when you go into the city, you're like, oh, it's big. There's a lot of stuff going on, but it's definitely a different animal. Like New York is an animal unto itself, for sure.
Absolutely. Well, and Philly, I actually believe in the whole stereotype of Philly as being like the sixth borough. Yeah. Because it takes an hour and a half to drive from the Bronx to Brooklyn. So, or like the edge of Long Island. Oh my God. Like whatever. If if we're we're not gonna consider that like New York City proper, but still like whatever. When you think of that. So it takes an hour and a half to drive from Philly to New York City. So how is the culture going to be really that much different?
Right.
It's just Philly's just like it's got the cool thing about Philly, and the reason why I live there, to move on about my background of what happened to me. I left New Jersey when I was 21 years old, and I moved to Philly on a whim, just like totally random. And I stayed there for 22 years because Philly was like a mini New York City to me. Yeah. I could find it wasn't as much of everything, but there still was a little bit of everything there.
Yeah.
And then that gets me into eventually what I started developing like as an artist and as a promoter, producer, event producer, whatever you want to call me, whatever title. So yeah. And then it's funny because
that New York scene really curated a lot of things that you are now you've brought forward.
Oh man, dude, I like my girlfriend, Laura, the love of my life, the living field, who very well, and we'll talk about her in a minute. Sure. She freaks out all the time by like, dude, you can't tell me anymore about these shows that you saw. Like, I don't want to hear it. Like, da-da-da-da. Because, I mean, I got to see the best bands of that era at that time. And I got to go to these crazy raves when that had just become a thing in this part of the world. I'm what you would call a junglist. These people out there, they're not going to know what I'm talking about unless you know about different genres of electronic music. But like
I do not.
Yeah, the predecessor to drum and bass and breakbeats and all these things that are just like super prominent right now and kind of gone up and down in waves is this genre of music called jungle. Okay. And so I throw a monthly event called Rainforest.
All right, now I see it. Okay.
But REIGN, Rainforest. And of course, that's an analogy. If you know the genre of, not an analogy, if you know the genre of music, you understand that's like an entendre because jungle is made out of British and European breakbeats and Jamaican dub music, like dembo and like Caribbean Latin dub, Jamaican dub. And you put those two kinds of music together and you get this thing called jungle. And this whole genre of music spurred off of an 11-second sample from a record that came out in 1968 by this funk band called the Winstons from the United States of America.
Eric, can you bring that up?
I want to
hear that.
It's called the Amen Break. If you just search the Amen Break, you will recognize this. It is the single most sampled drum beat in the history of the world.
I love, social media. This is the thing I love about social media is you listen to music, a new generation listens to music, and it's a sample of a sample of that of something that they stole from something else, right?
There's multiple videos. You should definitely look this up because this also goes into copyright infringement and all of the stuff. I mean, we can talk about Live Nation all day. I will destroy them on here as I did. I was on WHYY a couple weeks ago, just crushing Live Nation. Yeah. And if you know anything about what's going on,
I think we'll get there.
Yeah,
so
right now.
Hold on to that.
So the Amen break, if you want to cue it up. So this whole genre of music, jungle and drum and bass, literally was inspired by this drum sample.
Hit it. Oh yeah, I recognize that.
So you take that. I mean, yes, everybody knows that drum.
Sure.
I can name you 1,000 songs that have that sample in it. But
give me 5 really popular songs that people would know that drum break is.
I'm not going to give you 5 right now, but I'll give you one.
Give me one.
I'll give you one. So one of the first things was like from the 80s is like you listen to a handful. I'll give you a couple of tracks, a couple of bands, like NWA, Public Enemy, Cypress Hill, like all those like early 80s. Those are the first things you're going to see.
Gotcha.
Like really
bring me up an NWA that's got that in
that
there.
Became like radio hits were like those first ones, and then you can just play any. My point is you can play any music in the genre of jungle, and you're going to hear that variations somehow. Of that sample. The whole genre of music got created off of that sample, and a genre of music that is important because it spurred like other genres of music. You know what I mean? So and the fact just the fact that you recognized it immediately. I mean, we're talking a bar and you knew what that drum sample was, and more importantly, I'd like to give credit not to the people that sampled it because we could start talking about copyright infringement.
Sure.
We could start talking about how the terrible state that the current music industry is in, but like that sample. You got to go just talk about the artist that played that drum beat. It's this group called the Winstons. And the guy, the only guy left from that band, eventually got paid $70,000 like 40 years later.
All right, I'm looking at a picture of them, and it is a mixture of guys.
I mean, their music is amazing.
1969, American funk and soul music group based out of Washington, D.C.
You got it. Yeah, and you would. It was the B side of one of their singles called like it was called Amen Brother or something like that.
Yeah,
and like
known for their 1969 recording featuring a song entitled "Color Him Father" on the A side and "Amen Brother" on the B side.
Yes.
Halfway into "Amen Brother," there is a drum solo performed by Gregory C. Coleman, which would cause the release to the most widely sampled record in the history of electronic music.
There you go.
Audio clips, Amen break, breakcore, drum and bass, hip hop, jungle, big beat, and industrial. Color Him Father sold over 1 million copies.
I was waiting for you to do a Hulk Hogan Amen Brother.
Oh yeah, Amen Brother. No, I don't think that's where it came from.
Got it.
All right, but a mixture of guys that are like white and African American, I guess, here in this band, which is during '69. That would have been like a whoa, okay, right?
Well, the '60s is when the culture started to get really shaken up, right?
Yeah, I love it.
So,
all right, so you experienced New York and a number of great acts and things that then carried on all this big influence through things influencing you. And then, so where does this take DJ Ha?
Yeah, so that brings us to now, which is there's a couple things that just serendipitous like things, synchronicities that started to happen in the last year. Of course, the reason why I yell about Live Nation so much is because, like, I'm a former Live Nation guy. Like, I was there. I've been there. I've worked with even before I was working for Live Nation, I worked with the biggest rock stars in the world. I have some stories that will spin your head. But that led me into eventually working for them and then eventually not wanting to be a part of that game and really just focusing on local venues, local artists, local musicians, local productions, that's why I've been at the same, the first thing I am is a front of house sound engineer. Okay. I call myself like kind of a producer in a way. I'm an event producer.
So let me kind of rewind this back a little bit about your story. So, hitting the scene, the music scene in New York and things. You're playing drums.
I wasn't playing anything then. I didn't touch a musical instrument until I was like 20.
All right.
So not until I even moved to Philly, and then I was like,
moved to Philly.
Yeah.
And then what? Then we start hitting some skins.
Yeah. I started to teach myself how to play the drums, how to play the keyboards, how to DJ, live sound, digital recording.
So you were doing this all, and because
I was working at Sam Ash.
Okay.
Instead of going to college, instead of going...
That's what I'm trying to get your origin story.
Got it.
Ryan.
So instead of, like I brought up earlier that I went to college for like a year and a half, and then we completely spun off into into some heavy stuff. So instead of going to university to a focus, I worked at Sam Ash for like 4 years, and that was like college for me because I learned so much. And back then, this is pre-internet retail. So this is 2000 to 2005.
So you had to actually know your products.
Well, I didn't actually really know anything. I was a good salesman. If you can tell, I like to talk and I'm good at it.
Yeah.
So I could sell ice cubes to Eskimos. It doesn't really matter. So they saw that I knew enough, and not only did I get to interact with a bunch of gear, I got tons of gear for free because they actually had incentive programs back in the day. Okay. So I would sell 10 of these super fancy keyboards, and then they gave me one for nothing.
Oh, that would be cool.
Oh, I did that over and over again because I was a very good salesman.
Yeah. Awesome.
So I built up my own little studio. I brought that gear home. They want you to have the gear. At the time, they were overflowing with marketing money. So they wanted you to have the gear, put it in your hands because you could sell it better.
Of course. So, like any product. The more you know the product, you're like, oh, I did this with it. And then you can show features and all that stuff.
Yeah. So it didn't matter how young I was or whatever because I was only like 21, 22.
Talk the talk and walk the walk.
I was like one of the best salesmen in the store. I was like up top here because I just knew how to interact with people. They just liked hanging out with me.
Yeah.
So learned all the basics. I'm going to call that college for me as far as like music production. Then in 2005, here's the fun part of the origin story. So in 2005, I'm 26 years old. I'm still working at Sam Ash. I'm thinking about maybe starting my own business of some flavor, something to do in live sound and production.
Okay.
I started working for a company.
Now, were you producing any music for any friends or bands or anything?
Yeah. I was
you're playing or dabbling?
Yeah, I was just kind of messing around. I was still learning at that point.
You just didn't have like a solid, like, this could be a business. I could see how I could,
Yeah, once again, I had only been playing anything for like 5 years. Like that, like when I was like 18 and I was like traveling around the country following fish, like, I wasn't like, oh man, I'm gonna be a music producer someday. Right. Like, no way. I was.
You were just having fun.
So far away from that. So like, for me to go from that, from like not having really any experience in the musical world, even performing and playing an instrument, to where I ended up like at 26 years old, I quit Sam Ash. I started working for a backline company. Backline is instrument rentals in the big production world. Mm-hmm. I ended up working for the best backline company on the planet, and like a couple months into the gig, we got the exclusive contract for the Letterman show, like to provide all the backline for every musical guest on the Letterman show, plus doing all these other TV shows. So I went from... So, like, shows are booking people, performers are coming on. They're like, all right, well... They fly in. They don't fly in. I'm not bringing my whole band and all my crap. They rent a bunch of gear from us. They maybe come in with their guitar or whatever, but they're getting all the gear from us. And it's the best gear there is, and it sounds amazing, and it needs to be on television. Got it. So I went from working at, say, Sam Ash in June of 2005. I'm, like, in the mall selling keyboards to little kids. In the mall. What's a mall, Dad? I did get to do some big sales, like commission sales, because I'm in pro audio, so I would sell like a $50,000 PA system to a church or a club, you know? So it's like selling cars, you know what I mean? Like, it's up there. But I went from that in 2005, which is a semi-professional world, and then in like October of that same year, I'm in New York City. I'm on Stevie Wonder's tour bus, and I'm holding his hand. And I'm teaching him how to use a keyboard at like 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm 26. In my opinion, I'm just a kid. And like, I went from, the mall to we're on Regis and Kelly, Good Morning America, and The View, like all in the same week, and I'm teching keyboards for Stevie Wonder.
That's pretty amazing. That's a really cool experience.
Overnight, literally a couple of months later, so I had was I in the right place at the right time? Sure. But I also had a good work ethic.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter that I was green. I was totally green. But,
I can imagine in your world, where you're like just hearing your story, like, oh, yeah, I'm following around a group, a bunch of hippies or whatever words you want to paint this picture of.
Absolutely.
Like,
spend lots of time with lots of hippies.
Yeah, you're hanging out, you're listening to music, you're chasing a good time, and you're having this experience. So I can imagine in that world there's this idea of, flakiness and not, being like, hey, be on time, I'm going to, so being a good work ethic, I often joke around, as my children grew up, I said, my youngest is 18 now. I'm like, hey, listen, in today's world, you don't have to be a superstar of being the hardest worker is like the bar is set pretty low. It's like show up on time, do what you're told to do. Like you're going to be the tallest midget at the circus, right? Is like sort of the joke. So, having a good work ethic, especially if you're, and then, we can get into this. Well, we're not going to get into it, but, people throw this thing like, oh, pursue your passion. It's like, I don't know. Like there's some truth to that, but there's also like, hey, nobody wants to dig a ditch and clean a toilet. But sometimes these are the things you're doing. And if you do them, then all of a sudden, boom, Stevie Wonder comes in to use the toilet. So, like now what? You know what I mean? Like that's
sure.
Preparation meets opportunity, so to speak, kind of thing.
Yeah, well, and I think the bigger point that you bring up is, one thing you do learn when you're on fish tour. Doesn't matter which substance you take, but the end goal of psychedelics is to destroy your ego. And so, a sense of purpose can come from a lot of different places, but most people walk through life without it, and they aren't pursuing their passions. There's a balance. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you that you need. My point is that the work. It doesn't matter what the work is. The important thing is what your end goal is, what your mental health is, what's going to serve you the best. And you have to kind of remove your ego. That once again, I'm a DJ here.
Yeah,
I can talk about egos all day.
Yeah,
and how they corrupt the entertainment industry.
Well, yeah, we kind of joked around about like reality TV, how people get famous, but for doing what? Just for doing nothing.
What did they do? Yeah,
they don't. They're not producing anything.
Right.
And then they have this false sense of I'm so. I've gotten all these clicks and likes and people are viewing me, but what are they really viewing? They're not getting anything out of it. It's more of this caricature of humanity was what I was talking about earlier. So I could see that in this DJ realm, you get a guy who's, there's like, you ever seen the show Portlandia?
Oh,
they did an episode
over and over again. Everybody was a DJ as they walked in.
Right. That episode where everybody's
mom's house.
Yeah,
it was like, come see me.
Yeah, come see me. I'm spinning records this weekend. Everybody's a DJ. So it's like one of these things where, yes, you can bring this artistry and masterfulness, but then there's something more behind it that you're bringing to the crowd, right?
Right, and that's been happening for a while now. I mean, I don't want to go too deep into it, but the story of the DJ has had this wild ride, and meaning the history of it and where it started. At the first, as soon as DJing became a thing, they were at the front of the stage.
Yeah.
And then this thing started to happen where this MC thing, and over years this thing evolved, and then the DJ was now at the back of the stage and the MC was in the front.
Yeah.
So like, and then a formula came about, and then you stick to that formula because it sells tickets.
Tickets, right.
It's like, lots of things in the entertainment industry are very formulaic. I mean, modern country music, oh my God, dude. Ugh. It's the most formulaic thing there is. You could like layer a bunch on top of each other and they all sound exactly the same. Right. Now, I'm not saying that doesn't happen in other genres too. That's my personal
It's just a generalization. Sure, I get it.
Yeah. I mean, there's like trap music. Well, you hear the same thing. Or here's the really crazy thing. There's like a bunch of country music out right now, and it's literally like trap beats or like dirty South hip hop beats with just some dude
with a twang.
Twanging about his truck and his girl and his beer. And like, it's just so interesting to watch that collision
100%.
like happen. You know what I mean? Of like dirty South hip hop and like country like slammed together, you know, like Atlanta is such an interesting city for music. Like, what a hub Atlanta is.
Sure.
Like, you know, Nashville is going to overshadow like everything for, you know, in the South for that. I mean, it's like,
yeah.
But Atlanta, like, so deep, like the, you know, the culture down there. So, and that's how that stuff ends up happening. I mean, I'm that guy that's a genre masher. You know, I mean, that brings me to the stuff I'm producing now currently, you know, is like, you know, I'm kind of a jam band guy, but I'm not really. I mean, I've seen 115 Fish shows, so I know how to jam. I'm an improvisational musician, you know, and
I have to admit, I am not a jam band guy.
Well, and I'm not either as far as like... I
mean, to me, and again, no disrespect to the jam banders out there. Eric, do you consider yourself a jam band guy?
No, not really.
Yeah, like, so when people talk, when you say jam band, just to popularize and generalize, a Dave Matthews Band. Like, when you go to a Dave Matthews concert, so apparently, I'm not a big Dave Matthews guy. I mean, I've heard his music. It's okay. It's cool. You know, I'm like everything. You know, I don't like everything from everybody all the time kind of stuff. So you go to a Dave Matthews concert, and apparently, like, it's a completely different concert from day one to day two, because they are a jam band and the music that they play, and because he has such a catalog of music. Yeah. But to me, it starts to kind of sound like I could not stand that many hours. It starts to sound the same. Like bluegrass. Bluegrass is that way to me. I went to a bluegrass concert. It was fun. I can appreciate the you know, the energy, the energy, their artistry, you know. But after like the fifth bluegrass song, there's a fiddle, there's a guitar, there's a this, there's a that, and formulaic to me. Yep. And I think because of the way my brain works, whatever label we want to throw on that today, I don't know. I self-diagnose all the time, and I pick up these patterns. And so if it's too patternistic for me, that starts to throw me off. And so
absolutely,
my sweet Jessica was into electronic music and house music and things like that.
You're
and I'm kind of like
yacht house.
Well, I love that. So anyway, we'll go back to that.
Well, and that's kind of I guess that was.
It all sounded the same to me. Like and then she's like, "Oh, that's DJ so and so," and I'm like,
"It could be whatever."
Oh man, I'm lost. But as you listen and build, you have to kind of. It's like a new language. Like some of the things you have been saying, I was like, "Wow, this is like." You know, it is like almost the language of music. It's a very different thing, and you kind of have to, you know, experience that or whatever.
Yeah, and when I say I'm a jam band guy, I kind of more mean that as like that's the way I play, and like that's the scene I kind of live in. Yeah, it's not even so much where all of my influences come from. It's kind of culminated in now like the bands that like okay, so I'm a house sound engineer at Warehouse on Watts in Philly. We are known for electronic music. We have a super fancy PA system, all the dubstep, bass, wobble, wook. You would call the modern hippies wooks. Like they love it there. They freak out because it's amazing.
Did you know that, Eric? Did you know that lingo? Yeah. I'm taking notes. I'm scribbling. Wooks.
So this is kind of what, like, going back to what I was saying, like
a Wookiee.
Yeah, I'm a jam band guy like that, but I'm also a DJ. That was kind of where we were talking about hybrids and bringing different genres together and bringing different things and cultures together. Like I was discussing even like the roots of jungle and how like where they came from, different parts of the world coming together. So for me, as I grew up, like going to all those Fish shows, I was also going to all these raves, and like I was learning about all the different subgenres of electronic music at the same time that I was learning about the jam band stuff. So the first things I wanted to see was like, well, which of these jam bands are going to play that electronic music live? I'm like, that's what I'm looking for. And now I do that. You know, I'm going on a mini tour next month. I'm playing in Atlantic City, Baltimore, Harrisburg, and now I play a hybrid live set like that. Because I was searching for that for years. I've been in all these different bands over the past few years, doing it, but like now I'm doing it just on my own. And I was looking for that back then, you know, like 2001, you know, my friends are like, go see X band. And I went to see him and I'm like, these guys are trying to do it, but they're not really pulling it off, you know. And then I saw this band,
Do you think your own knowledge base sometimes gets in the way of your experience? Like, so for example, somebody who's so into, I just saw a funny clip. It was about like Star Wars, and where they had the girl who plays Padme on Saturday Night Live. She was like the host, and I forget, one of the comedians, like Feinberg or something's in the audience, and he's like a Star Wars nerd, and he's like, oh, do you really think Boba Fett would have, you know, worked with that other guy,
Natalie Portman?
Yeah, to create the like, do you really think that would happen in the Star Wars universe? And then she like hits him with all this Star Wars knowledge and like kind of shuts him up. Do you think that there's a point where because you've come from this production side of things, I often call it the artist and the bean counter. The artist wants to paint the picture, and they don't care, you know, how much something costs. They don't care how big. Like, nobody will ever buy that. It's too expensive, you know. And the bean counter's like, oh, well, listen, use less of this paint because it costs too much. So when you're going and having this experience, do you find that your knowledge base has been helpful, or do you think it gets in the way, or maybe there's a little both?
Oh, so that's an interesting question, because it does bring me to kind of what I was talking about earlier about me kind of having some synchronicities recently.
Yeah.
Because I am a production guy first. Like I said, I've never I haven't really even pushed myself as an artist, even until like really recently. I put out a couple of singles, whatever. I built up the name DJ Ha. Yeah. But I haven't really been pushing anything too hard. I've been a behind the scenes producer, so I've been the bean guy. Yeah. Most of the time. Right. Because I understand how production works, and I understand that the best show is going to be pulled off when all the technicalities are like taken care of.
Listen, you could be the best singer in the world or the best whatever performer, and if I'm in the back and I can't hear you, well, this show sucks.
Dude, I'm a sound engineer. So, I'll push the suck button real fast if I don't like your band. You know, like there's you guys could push it right now and make me sound like this. You know, No, but my point is you got to work with your production team. They are just as important as the people on stage. I'm sorry. Yeah. That goes back to the Bain philosophy that I was discussing earlier. Like, you should never be afraid of the person that's paying you. You are providing a service to them. You are making an agreement with somebody. You know, and you're and in my world, you're working with somebody just for like 8 hours. You have to like be in a good mood. It's really funny. I might have told you this story.
Well, you hit the word team.
You're a team, at least for the day.
Bringing an experience to, the audience, whatever that looks like.
Absolutely. I might have told you this story, but I'm going to tell it again because this is a good one that it comes up, and I know people have heard this before, musicians that have gigged and whatever. Sure. So usually you have two different experiences with a sound engineer, with a front of house sound guy like me. I manage a pretty big club. We have a 500 cap room in Philly, and like we got some pretty rock stars in there. It's a mid-sized club, but it's, whatever. And I've worked with the biggest rock stars in the world. Obviously, I've just started to tell you some stories. I could tell you a whole bunch of them. But the point is that even if you're a young band, if you're a established band, you usually have two different experiences with a sound engineer. One is you get this guy who's the biggest curmudgeon, pain in the ass in the world. He's a really good sound guy, but he's really hard to work with because he was in a band in the 80s and we were going to go big and now we're not. And I got to mix your stupid band now, like blah, 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 blah. But there's a good chance he's really good. You know what I mean? Like, because he's been doing it for so long and like whatever. Or you get person B, which is probably some young guy that's just like happy to be there and he's got the best attitude ever. But he doesn't have any clue what he's doing because he's so green. He's just happy to be there. And so he's really nice to work with, but you're going to sound like crap. So I like to pride myself in being that guy that's really fun to work with. And like, it doesn't matter what your genre is. I'm never going to be that curmudgeon guy, and I know what I'm doing. I'm going to make your experience really good when you come to the venue that I'm working at. You're going to sound really good and feel really good when you're playing, and you're going to like have like this nice guy like along the way. And so that's why I've been able to just do the things that I do. I work at a bunch of venues, some of the best ones. I work at Kennett. I work at the Flash in Kennett Square, which is a great venue. I'm going to be running the big bands for the Jazz Fest next weekend there. And that brings me to, these things that I'm doing now. So I'm about to start throwing some events here in Westchester that I'm very excited about.
I mean, that was the main reason why I wanted to have you on. But I also know you have this incredible story. I mean, you're an onion, and we've only peeled a few layers of that back.
Yeah, and I'm going to keep talking about myself a little bit more like through this, but I wanted to get to that just because, like, that is why we're here, and I've had these weird things that have kept bringing me back to Westchester, which has been strange for me because, like, I didn't really have any connections to Westchester. But, like, when Sprout Music Collective was open, I was doing sound here. I was living in Philly.
Whatever happened to Sprout Music Collective?
So during COVID, they went under. Yeah,
that stinks.
I mean, the whole music and entertainment industry obviously took big hits then.
Well, do you think that was Sprout a thing?
Sprout was definitely a thing.
Was it going to continue to be a thing, or do you think it was like, oh, good, we pulled the plug on that?
I think that
stupid.
I think that they would have had to kind of mold themselves a little bit just due to the.
Just curious. I was only there like one time, but.
Yeah. So I mean, and here's what I'll say. I'm about to do some things in Westchester myself because as a good DJ, I know how to read the room. And Sprout was. It was amazing. We had tons of fun there. It got slightly too obnoxious for like the neighbors. That's not Sprout's fault, but that's just the local neighborhood being like
obnoxious. How? Well,
I mean, we're talking bass music and jam bands and hippie kids partying until 3 a.m. in the neighborhood.
That's a little much.
It got a little much.
It was considered a private club, right?
It was a social club, yeah.
Okay, so
which I can tell you all about those kind of businesses because I've managed other social clubs myself.
Now, as a social club, you had to be like you sign up for a membership.
Yep.
And then
it has a liquor license in it.
It does have a liquor license, and
you can stay open until 3 a.m.
And you can stay open
legally. You can
later.
serve till 3. Yeah. You can serve alcohol till 3.
Well, all those social clubs really started. Let me know if this is right or not. In my perspective, it seems like every social club either had some type of ethnic affiliation, like the Polish club, the Italian club, where all the immigrants of the time of the majority
needed a place to land, quote unquote.
Needed a place to hang out and be with your people, and the church. Typically the Catholic Church, right? They had a social club.
Yep.
And then it was like, well, it was a place to hang out and you were doing whatever. And then a lot of times the church would be like, all right, you guys are getting too crazy. So we're going to separate. And then that business continued on. There's a place like in Phoenixville.
Yep.
That's kind of, I forget the name, St. Michael's it was called.
I was the event coordinator at a very famous social club in Philadelphia called the Ruba Club. Ruba is super famous.
Okay.
It is the Russian United Beneficial Association.
There you go.
So it was a Catholic Russian social club that started in like the 20s.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it was, and I was, and that's why I learned all about that side of the business, like a 501(c) or something like that, like nonprofit organization with a liquor license. I was like, what the hell? This is the craziest business model I've ever seen in my life. And once again, I was like kind of young still, but I learned all about like how that stuff works. But that also set me up for producing events and I learned.
I don't want to go too far off track here.
Yeah.
All right, so we were talking about Sprouts. We were talking about the music scene. You're reading the room.
Yeah.
And where does that bring you into Westchester today?
Right. Yeah. So I'm the kind of guy that I have I work and thrive in the music industry.
Yeah.
I would like to see it continue to work and thrive. So the biggest problem is that the money makers are all cover bands. So how are you supposed to support a thriving original music scene if you can't make any money in that? I mean, I don't want to once again, I don't want to sidebar into Live Nation or anything like that, but like,
well, yeah, why can't you make any money?
Why can't you make any money in the music? Yeah, well, so there's
in its most brief synopsis of things, without getting too crazy, without our tinfoil hats and things.
Because the human brain's attention span has dropped down to nothing, and if it's not something you recognize, you're just not even interested in it anymore. So bars and venues can't monetize you unless you're playing hit songs.
Well, it's tough,
that
right?
They recognize.
Yeah, when I go to a bar and I'm hanging out and I'm like, I don't know what this is.
Right.
Like, am I really into this or not? You know, I think there's something that goes with that. You know, my buddy, I would call him, he's musically inclined. He's very talented, but he's not a musician. He was in a band for a time that was, I don't know. Anyway, I think they had a small little record deal, whatever. But he's like, the other day I run into him, and he's like, I was like craving live music. I wanted to be somewhere where there was live music. So we went to like Station 142. You know, they've got that set up. That was the place that used to be the Note, whatever. We go in there. There's I couldn't even tell you who was playing. It wasn't anything I really recognized or didn't. So I don't know if it was original music or not. I kind of think it was. It's packed in there. Have you been there? Must have been there, right?
Yeah. And I would assume on a packed night like that,
well, it's young
Station
kids.
142 is mostly cover bands. That's like 90% cover bands. So I'm going to tell you right now, if you were in there, it was probably a cover band.
Okay. It was real tight, real young. I mean, people were like, "Yo, what's up with your dad?" You know, who brought Grandpa out? Real young, which is fine. Like, the young kids need a place like that to go see live music. I think where part of the problem of that is, if it's a bunch of young people and then it gets known for young people, people like me are like, I'm not going there. It's all a bunch of young people. I don't want to be bumped into and have beer spilled on me and all that kind of stuff. Sure. I feel like my age group, we could talk about this a little bit. You know, I'm 55, so we don't have a place to go. You can go to any bar, but like to go and dance and listen to music that I want to listen to. Mm-hmm. And so I've seen a couple places pop up, and it's not bands, but like I went and saw New Edition a couple weeks ago. It was amazing. It was an amazing show. Tony Braxton, New Edition, of course, Belle Biv DeVoe, part of, at some point is part of New Edition.
Where was the show?
At the Leocore Center.
Yeah, okay.
Right? Intimate venue, not huge, 10,000, 11,000 seats. I think we looked that up. Not 20,000, but it was great. Great performance. If there's something in my age group where there's something jumped from like my parents to me, that generation, and so like we want to go out, and you did the Pulsations thing. Maybe we had these under 21 nightclubs. There's that like Philly. What is that genre of music that's Philly known, like that sound? It's like horrible. I'm not really a huge fan of it. Like I don't even know, but like people love it. Freestyle. I think they call it freestyle.
Well, freestyle. Yeah, I mean freestyle.
It's like 80s. Take me in your arms.
Sure.
Never let me go.
Absolutely.
Like that.
That's 80s freestyle.
There's a whole genre of that. Now I see that like at Adelphia, these people that are still, they're like, hey, bring them up.
Sure.
They're like, whoa, what happened to you, kind of thing, because they're older. But there's not a place like that for people my age that want to like go hear things of our past that's not oldies. You know what I mean? Like people that want to dance and hang out. I see a couple DJs pop up every once in a while. There's a place in Glen Mills that has something that's as close to that as like, you know what I'm saying? Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
I took us off track. So.
There's this huge split between the cover band musicians.
Yeah.
That's once again getting back to like what my focus is.
Yeah.
Is like the cover band musicians, they're hustling and they're working hard and they're making a living doing that. The original musicians are literally, at this point in the music industry, it's mostly a passion project. They are spending money to just even get their art out in front of people. The technology allows you to do a lot of the things yourself, so there are, of course, some benefits to that. But what I'm trying to do is even so. here locally in Westchester, I mean, Westchester or it doesn't matter where, I've been trying to open my own venue. I'm a production manager level, person in my career.
Well, you've had a lot of experience, right?
Right.
Seeing it, producing shows, so you know how the sausage is made, so to speak.
So I am actually going to help open a venue. I'll touch on this real quick in Bryn Mawr with my good friend Jake Lashinsky.
Let's talk about
the bass player from Swift Technique. Yeah, I am finally actually being a part from the ground floor of helping him. He just signed a lease. It's going to be 5 years, so this is definitely a commitment. But it's going to be a 200 cap, fully functioning music venue and rehearsal space and whatever, which I'm super excited about. I appreciate Jake so much because he's super talented musician and is very business savvy. So we're going to make a good team. In the meantime, that's just a dream come true for me. Thank goodness for him. But while I'm here, because I live on Gay Street, downtown in Westchester, and I'm here to stay, and I want to support the scene around here as well. I started one of the venues that I started working at was Uptown. So Uptown, the Knauer Theater, as most people would know about it, if you know the history of it. We've had
lots of people in from Uptown on their team, and we always promote what's going on there. I think it's great. It's the old Armory here.
I can't say enough good things about Heather Grayberg. She's amazing. Okay. She's like super sharp and super talented and very generous. And I basically, I'm a sound engineer over there, so I've been mixing all these tribute bands, which clearly, even though that's not my focus, I still spend my time and energy supporting them. The only bands I've mixed over there were a Rolling Stones cover band and a Foo Fighters cover band. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. And the bands are great. And so, and the production over there is super high quality over at Uptown.
But it's not original music.
So I went over to her. Exactly. It's not original music. So I went over to her and I pitched her actually the concept of a jam session. So on May 5th, on Cinco de Mayo, we're going to do our first open jam. And the open jam is not, it's not genre specific. So I'm not going to scare anybody away by being like, oh, we're only doing this kind of thing. It's open to anybody. And I have a house band, and you just come and you sit in with the house band. And, we have the back line available, a drum kit, keyboards, guitar amp, blah, 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 blah. You bring your instrument, come in, sit in with the house band. This isn't a new formula. This is stuff people do all the time.
Sure.
The best jam session in Westchester right now is the Tom Patty's over at Slow Hand every third Sunday. It's awesome. He puts together a house band. They do these funky jam sessions. I go over there. I sit in all the time. I'll be there this Sunday, April 19th. But I'm doing sort of that sort of familiar. I'm going to have like sort of a discussion thing. This is a networking event. It's a community-based event. I want local musicians to just come out and hang out. You're going to meet other musicians. You're going to get to sit in with a band. We're going to improvise a bunch of music. It's not an open mic. This isn't like you come and you sign up and you're like, I'm going to play my 2 songs on my acoustic guitar. That stuff's cool, too. You can come down and do that. Bring your acoustic guitar. Come play a couple of songs. But that's not like the vibe of the thing. It's different. It's an open jam. It's a whole new brand I'm starting. It's called Social Sessions.
Social Sessions.
You can look it up. Uptown is also, once again, very supportive on the promo and the marketing. You should be able to find it. You could actually find it on all my social media stuff on Instagram, Facebook. Go to Ryan DJ Ha, and you'll see it. But the point is that it's a community-based thing. It's local. It's all about the Westchester music scene. She, when I was in my meeting pitching that initial idea to her, meaning Heather, was like, yeah, we've also been thinking about bringing some like local original bands in. What do you think about that? And I'm like, Heather, like, you're speaking my language, man. This is actually what I'm trying to get to. The jam session is a springboard to get to do this. And you're telling me you already kind of want to do the thing that I'm really trying to do. Right. So we decided to do not only... We got
to bring people out of the woodwork, right? They got to know it exists. They got to know that there's a place. And then they got to know that it's being fueled.
And this is a place for everybody, Steve. So the kind of thing that you're talking about is, where do I go? Well, you can come to Uptown. You can see these tribute bands. And now you're also going to get to start seeing local and original music on the same stage of that same production quality. And like we're gonna hook up the people that really need it This big touring rock stars don't need the support. The local original scenes, the local venues, the nonprofit organizations like Uptown, these are the people that need our support.
Yeah.
And that's why I've thrown all the knowledge that we're talking about that you say that I have. I throw all of that weight towards the local scene. And look at me, the bands that hire me are these amazing local jam bands. Why do they hire me? Because they know I know the music so well, or these DJs or like whatever. They bring me in because I know those kinds of music.
Sure.
And like whatever. And I'm going to bring a bunch of genres over there to Uptown, via the jam session. There's going to be a whole bunch of musicians that come in. So there's a jam session once a month. And then I'm going to do the original showcase once a month. The first show is June 27th. It's going to be outside on the lawn on the side of the building. So I have access to the stage, which is fantastic inside, but we're going to do this outside because it's going to be June. I have Swift Technique playing, who's the Jake Wyszynski's amazing funk band, and this band called the Fractals. Both of those bands have musicians that play in Westchester all the time. My buddy Kevin Hansen is the guitar player from the Fractals. He's a legend. He's written songs with all sorts of Grammy affiliated things. He does everything from like rock and metal, classical, neo soul, whatever. He can play any genre of music. The show is going to be incredible, and that'll be the first one. And so then it's going to be a monthly showcase. The jam session at the beginning of the month, every like first Tuesday, and then the live showcases at the end of each month. And once again, this opportunity has come because Heather has been really amazing, and quite frankly, they're interested in scaling up. Uptown is so popular at this point that like they're overflowing with events, and they're also looking to like do different types of things. So they're excited about like adding this to their programming. And as an event producer, I'm going to tell you, like, you need the enthusiasm of a venue. I've thrown all sorts of different kinds of parties, and I've DJ'd everything from the most corporate-y whatever and weddings to Burning Man. Yeah. And so like I know the business like very well. Yeah. And so when you have the enthusiasm like of a venue being like, yo, let's get this. This is awesome. I'm all about this. Like that's the kind of thing that makes an event really good.
Well, it's energy, right? It's energy, and like, you want to be in a room where people want you in the room. Mm-hmm. Right. And so I think that energy is very palpable. I've been to Uptown for a number of events. Some of it was more covery kind of thing. Like, I love yacht rock, that whole vibe of going to a yacht rock. It's not, I hate to call it a concert because they're not original, but like, well, yeah, one of the biggest artists right now in that genre of replaying yacht rock music, the Steely Dans and et cetera, Doobie Brothers, et cetera, is Yacht Rock Review. They were an original band out of Georgia that got a residency at some bar because they covered, because whoever needed them, somebody else flaked out or whatever the deal is, and they're like, can you play? And I'm like, well, we do original music, all right, and whatever. They end up playing some of these songs, and it has become a thing for them. They sell out venues. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they've been at like, the Fillmore, and now they're doing like the Mann Music Center. They toured with Toto. I mean,
tribute bands are huge, man. And
because it's nostalgic, and that's my group. We have time now. We have money, and there is a nostalgia to be, people my age-ish. We want to like relive that thing. So when you see like the White Snakes and the Bon Jovis and the the Leds, whatever band that when you were in high school and you scraped your freaking lunch money together to get a ticket somewhere.
It's funny you say that, high school, because I believe from the studies that I've read psychologically, that's the age bracket of music that you're going to get the most emotionally attached to is from the age of like 12 to 18.
I mean, think of everything you go through in that time period. It is this huge developmental leap, hormonally, things that are, it is this, John, we touched on this earlier with a caller, like this ritualistic. I was talking about this with somebody else the other day. There's been this, societally, culturally, for humankind, there's been this ritual of when do I leave childhood and move into adulthood? And high school age, teenage years are, physiologically we are doing that. And then there's a lot of things that go along. And I think there's a lot of rituals that today's generation is missing out on.
Oh, absolutely.
That they are not having these defined moments of we are leaving, in the Christian Bible, it's like you leave your toys and your childish ways behind to move into adulthood, manhood, womanhood, whatever that is. Religious things like, bar mitzvah and bat mitzvahs. And then, every culture has some type of ritual. I think it's lost. Those cultures still have those things. And then we kind of get to America and American society and culture. And it's been so influenced by so many others, this melting pot, which is great in many ways, but in some ways, what is the American ritual for moving on into being an adult, being a man or being a woman? And I think that's, we could talk forever about that kind of stuff. I don't know if we can do that. But anyway, getting back to high school and high school age and that kind of genre of music, I loved it.
Yeah,
and then they have the Laugh Lounge. So the comedy scene around here, that has picked up a little bit. So there's this artistry and performance that Westchester, there's definitely this wave of energy towards those things.
Right, and venues come and go, and once again, it's like, I think we're in a shift right now, and I've been running and doing sound and throwing shows in Philly for over 20 years now, so I've watched venues come and go. I've stayed at Warehouse on Watts for the last 8 years because I appreciate the fact that it's a mid-sized club that is independent, that isn't part of the machine. I'm not even going to say the name again because I don't want to talk about them anymore. Yeah. But it's the reason, why I've stayed there so long is because, these are the types of venues I want to work at. Local. I still get to work with some rock stars every once in a while, which is cool. But it's moreover, they're the ones that really need our support. In the end, I have nothing wrong with these tribute bands and these cover bands. The market is saturated with them at this point, and that's why I'm trying to make sure we're breathing some life into. Because if people aren't writing songs, eventually it's all just going to disappear.
Right.
If we let all the AI just write all the songs for us, then there's literally going to be no new music anymore. So how many Grateful Dead cover bands there are? Oh my God, dude.
I mean, a lot.
There's thousands of them. They're everywhere.
And I don't even like them.
And I'm in that scene, Steve. I'm in that scene deep, and I can't stand. I'm just oversaturated with it. It's just
I can imagine.
Oh man, it's just blows my mind.
Yeah.
And once again, I don't. I support it. I do sound for these guys. These are my friends. I want them to come hang. I want to play with them.
I swear every time I go, I just went. I was at a viewing for a friend, and which has been a really heavy month, man. It's been a heavy month. There's been more people I've known that have had. Either they have somebody that's close to them dying or it's been a really heavy month right now. But we went to a venue across the street from where we went to this viewing, this service. And, it was a little brewery type place. And then somebody's setting up a music, guy and a lady around my age. And of course, I'm like, oh man, here we go with the... it's like a bet. What's
going to happen now?
What's the first song they're going to hit? It's their version of, I don't know, that jam band kind of, they're singing a song, which is cool. When you hear, that's the first.
You're like, man, I've heard Shakedown Street at every bar I've walked into.
There you go.
Every single day for the last 14 days.
Right. It's starting to, as the young people say, give me the ick. When I hear live music, I love that somebody's got the cojones to want to, hey, you know what? I play a guitar and I like to sing and I want to do this, and will you have me there? And somebody says, yeah, we'll let you come in and play, and maybe we'll toss a couple shekels at you. But it's it is the ick, because you're you're not that great, but you're playing a song I've heard 5 million times, and there's not a new take on it.
Right.
We've had Nick Doak, who he's the director of the Westchester Music Academy, a talented musician on his own. And he went to school for music and whatever, and he teaches, but now he's directing the thing. But on his own, he's a great musician. I don't know if he's ever done any original things, but like he has like a gig at Barnaby's on like it's like happy hour on Friday nights, and it's a great chill out on the patio. Even though it's songs that maybe I've heard before, he brings something to it that is, one, he's really good, so that helps.
Yeah.
If you want to hear a song that you've heard on the radio, I want it to sound like it did on the radio.
He's got a nice voice. His guitar's in tune.
Right.
He plays at a good volume.
Right. or if you are trying to make it your own, it has to work in that way. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, and he does a great job with that.
And hey, anyway, as far as like utilizing other people's music to make a career, hello, I'm a DJ.
Yeah.
Like, I understand what that is. The whole reason everybody wants to be a DJ and the live music traditionalists freak out and like hate DJs is because you could pay them less. You're dealing with one person.
Sure.
They can bring this huge wall of sound, whether you want it or not. They have it. And then like, it's just a matter of, DJs, listen, let me tell you, I have such a love-hate relationship with my own culture.
Yeah.
And it's about the ego versus like whatever. DJs they're literally just, let me explain something very simple. They're just the biggest music fans in the world. They are a bigger music fan than you. And let me explain why. They just want to collect other people's music and then shove it down your throat as loud as possible. Think about how opinionated you are about that music when you want to do that. And then, you know what I mean? So, like,
I do.
In essence,
that's an interesting perspective how you just framed it. Because it's like, oh, man, I heard this song. You got to hear it.
Right. That's what a DJ wants to do. They want to take their favorite song and they want to play it as loud as possible into your earballs. Now, here's what makes a DJ really good.
Your earballs.
Here's what makes a DJ really good.
I love what you said.
Now, I'm going to go back to that term, read the room. So the number one rule in DJing is song selection. I don't care what your technical skills are. I don't care what gear you're using. If you have songs that sound good, what a DJ does is they know how to predict the future. They're looking at a dance floor, the people in the room, and they're going to say, what do these people want to hear next? And if you're really good at that, you're literally predicting the future.
Yeah.
So you're like, the next thing is like, do you have a really good wide library? Once again, it doesn't matter what gear you're using. It doesn't matter what you're playing through. If you have a good song selection that's very wide, and you have a knowledge base of lots of different genres.
Yeah, you got to be smart because you got to bring this up in your head like, ooh, you know what? What would work here?
Exactly.
This song or this, or I see that, oh, crap, I walked into this room and it's, where did all these, there's 560-year-olds here. Oh, they're not going to dig trap music.
And that's what makes a good that's what makes a really good DJ.
You got to think fast on your feet.
It's the number one rule. Yeah, if you know how to do all the bells and whistles and the technical skills and whatever, that's great, but that's not what's really going to make or break you.
Selection,
People are going to remember you for your song selection.
Yeah, I think
it doesn't matter what genre, whatever.
Really nailed it.
So, and that is a philosophy I bring to everything that I do. I'm good at reading a room. I know the type of shows that I should bring to Westchester. We going back to the Sprout thing. Sprout was amazing. It started to get a little loud, literally and figuratively, for the neighborhood. Those people don't want that. These people don't want that. I'm not going to try to do that. I'm going to be loud, but I'm going to bring new energy to the table, but I'm going to bring stuff that's still accessible. Referencing back to the DJ thing is like, as a DJ, I can play basically every single song I play, unless the bride at a wedding is like dictating to me every single song I'm going to play because I'm doing that kind of thing, which is fine. I'm more than happy to do that. You can go DJ. You should be able to love every single song you play. There's so much music out there that and that is also accessible to other people. Familiarity that you're discussing of being, it doesn't matter what age you are, but there's this combination of giving people things new that they didn't know they even needed to hear and giving them familiarity. That's why remixes exist of popular songs.
Yeah.
So closing here, because I know I don't have a ton of time left. That's like where those two worlds meet, right? Like, you want to give people things they're familiar with. That's why things are formulaic. But we also want to keep bringing original ideas to the table. That's what moves us, humanity, forward. We got to keep, having ingenuity and like conducting new ideas and moving forward. And so it's a balance of those two worlds that I like to bring together as a DJ, as a music producer, whatever. So. Makes sense.
Yeah, no, I totally. So, all right. So, what are we calling this again? Sessions?
Social Sessions is
Social
the name
sessions.
of the. It's a new.
I couldn't think of the first word.
Yeah, so it's basically, think of it as a sort of a production company. We'll call it that. And our first events are the monthly jam session. That'll be roughly first Tuesdays of the month.
And it's not an open mic.
It's not an open mic. It's an open jam.
Yeah, it's an open jam. So
not to say you can't bring your acoustic guitar and come down and sit in, but it's just the more vibe is more like improvisational music, like networking, playing with other musicians, playing music that you might not have ever played before.
Yeah,
with musicians you might not have ever met
use
before.
the term networking, which I like.
It's a networking event. That's what it is.
People in the scene should come because, one, we know from Napoleon Hill when like-minded individuals come in together, right, and we create this mastermind group of, hey, what's the vibe? What's next? Let's keep this thing kind of going. I like the sound of that. How about you, Eric? Would you go to the soul session?
Yeah, I mean, for me,
Would you bring your guitar?
I would, yeah. I think for me, that's one of the things where I play like by myself. Like I play just in my basement, but then that collaboration aspect is something that
would be fun.
Would be looking for, yeah.
Not everybody wants to be the front man, or should be. Or should be.
and like I said, a call back to what I was talking earlier is like I've just recently started to sort of push myself as like more of an artist, just recently, because I'm fine being behind the scenes. I enjoy it. Like as long as I'm not a studio engineer, because sitting in front of a computer all day, even if I was working on music, quote unquote, I don't want to do that in an office setting. I want to be working on and producing music in a live setting, a live show. Like that's where I thrive. And so, it's a different energy, but I digress. You get the idea. That come out to the jam and because of that's the live thing. There's a community, that's where these connections get made, and that's how we keep moving forward. And also, I also want to embellish the fact that it's it's an open jam. It's also multi-genre. So some jams are there's Grateful Dead jam sessions or jazz jam sessions. Mm-hmm. Sometimes that scares people off. I don't want people to think it's any particular whatever. We're going to play every kind of music. Any kind of music is welcome. Any kind of musician at any skill level, whether you're a super pro or you're a newbie. I want it to be a safe space. I want it to be a welcoming space. That's the whole idea. That's the main point. So
cool. Eric, do you have anything?
No, that was about it. I think you covered a lot of bases.
We covered a lot of bases. There's many, many, many layers. I'd love to have you back on, Ryan. And please, anytime you want to come back on in studio, we could peel some more layers of this music onion. I'd love to talk to you about my new obsession, which is yacht house music.
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, it's such a cool vibe.
Here's an amazing act you can look up, which is pseudo in that same world.
Yeah.
There's an amazing DJ duo from England that I've done sound for a bunch of times when they come to Philly, and they go by, ready for this?
Yeah.
Fleet Mac Wood. And they do house and disco remixes of Fleetwood Mac songs, and they are the parties that they throw are the sexiest parties. It's just 100 girls dressed like Stevie Nicks show up, and then 100 gay guys show up, and then all these couples show up, and they're all just dancing and singing these songs, but it's this four on the floor, oonts, oonts, boots and cats, house music. It is amazing.
Ryan, thank you so much for coming in today. We do have to we got a minute or two here, because then the Brandywine Valley SPCA is going to be calling in. I think Sarah Smith will be calling in.
Cool.
But Ryan, tell us about where we can find more about you. You have a website. You're on Instagram.
Yes.
You're on Facebook.
Yeah. You can go to my website at djhamusic.com. That'll give you all the links to all my social media and stuff. And if you just want to go straight to my social media, it's just Ryan DJ Ha, all one word, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. And
awesome.
you can see videos of me performing live, and I'll have some new original music coming out soon too.
So your next, if we wanted to see you live with your band, and do you have a track we could pull up that we could play you out with as we take a break?
Wow, that would be super cool. I mean, you could go to my SoundCloud And
Eric's on it. He's feverishly typing SoundCloud.
DJ Ha music on SoundCloud. Look for a song called Eyes of the Serpent.
Ooh.
That's like a tropical house track I put out a couple years ago, co-produced by my buddy Ben Arsenal, who's a super talented DJ, world house music guru.
Cool.
But if you search for Eyes of the Serpent, you might find it on, I don't know. It's on all of them.
Eric looks very serious right now as he's fervently typing.
I mean, you could also probably find it on like Spotify and all. It should be. Like...
So you've played at the TLA, Coda, Warehouse on Watts, Kung Fu Necktie, never heard of that, 700 Club, the Ruba Club, Silk City, I have heard of that, the Fire, Ardmore Music Hall, have heard of that, Milk Boy, heard of that, Concourse, the Barberry, the Saint, Underground Arts, the Khyber, National Mechanics. I mean, you have quite a list here, and listen, you've got a ton of stories. I'd love to come back and get some of these stories from you.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
we touched on like nothing basically, like working from Sam Ash to Stevie Wonder was kind of fun. I'd love to hear some more. And anytime you have a gig or anything you would like to promote, by all means,
absolutely.
Please, you could call in.
Real quick, I'm DJing a park party this Sunday in Philly. Look it up, and this Sunday, April 19th.
I saw somebody comment on I saw you post that you were going to be on here today, and then somebody said, talk about rolling through the park on Sunday.
Yeah, that's Nick. Yeah. So he's the promoter for that party. Yeah, that's going to be great. That's going to be 2 stages, and I'll be just playing all drum and bass.
So where is that, and what is that, and what time? Tell us how to get there.
So it's going to be all day long. I believe it's going to be at the Glendinning Rock Garden. That's where a lot of these DJ crews throw their parties.
Glendinning Rock Garden.
The Glendinning Rock Garden.
Glendinning.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's at the edge of Fairmount Park. If it's not there, it'll be at FDR. If it's like rainy, they'll move it under the 95, under the bridge in FDR Park.
Okay.
In South Philly. So it should be at one of those 2 locations.
And what kind of music is going to be playing there?
All sorts of different genres. All day long. And 2 stages, too.
All day long.
All day long. From like 1
p.m.
Show up,
we get tickets?
It's free. It's a park party. You just go to the park. Bring your blanket. Bring your friends. Bring your dogs. Bring your kids.
Amazing.
It's fun.
Awesome. Eric, do you have the music queued up?
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, this is a house, like a tropical house track I put out a few years ago. Check it out, and thanks for having me.
All right, we'll check it out as we take on the break, and then when we come back, we'll have Sarah Smith from the Brandywine Valley SPCA, Ryan, DJ Ha, thank you so much for coming on, and I'd love to talk to you more and have you back on.
Awesome. Thank you, Steve.